Hi friends, my name is Jenny and I'm back today to do another video. Today I'm going to be chatting through my Booktube Spin list. So I've been seeing this video going around quite a lot in the past couple of days, and I thought after watching several other people's videos that it just sounded too fun for me to pass up. So I have put together a list today at work and thought I would quickly film it today. It'll be a pretty casual chill video. I have my coffee here, my after work coffee. So if you are totally unfamiliar with this project, this was started by Rick McDonnell is maybe how you say his last name. I'll put a link to his video where he announced this challenge. I believe it's based previously on a book blogging challenge that used to happen, particularly around the classics and kind of reading a lot of classic books from your TBR, but Rick has kind of readjusted it to fit the more broad range that we find here on Booktube. Jenny from the future here to actually explain in more depth what this is about. So this is a kind of challenge game, whatever you want to call it, where you will create a list of 20 books and they will have a number associated with them. And then Rick is going to post a video on January 31st, spinning a wheel with numbers 1 through 20. And then let's say it lands on number 14. Then everyone who has posted or made public their list of 20 books for the Booktube Spin will have to read book number 14 between February 1st and March 31st. So this is my list explaining the 20 books that I will be picking from depending on which number gets chosen. And I will include this book either in my February TBR or in my March TBR depending on what book gets chosen and what I'm feeling in terms of how much I want to read it this coming month and try to fit it in, or if I want to include it in my March TBR. So hopefully that explains it a bit better. If you're still kind of confused, I'd recommend checking out Rick's video, although I feel like this has been making the rounds and my small little corner of Booktube probably already knows what this is. So I've picked my 20 books. None of them are classics. I don't really read classics, so that was not something that was of interest to me. But I have 4 categories, each with 5 books in each category, and my categories are just kind of random. They were just kind of what I've been feeling lately that is not included on my February TBR, so I thought that this would be a kind of fun way to spice up my reading a bit. I love to randomize things. It's a passion of mine, I would say. So without any further ado, let's just get into my first category, which is romance. This is primarily because I've not included any romance in my February TBR thus far, but I am kind of in the mood to read it, so I decided to just pick some romance books that have been sitting on my TBR that I'm excited about. This one also includes the only 3 ebooks, I think, on this entire list, if I'm remembering correctly. So let's start with the ebook. So book number 1 for my Booktube Spin list is going to be He's Come Undone. This is a romance anthology that includes 4 romance novellas, one of which is by Ruby Lang. I think Olivia Dade wrote another one. I did no research before starting and filming this video, so I don't remember, but you can see from the title the 4 authors that are included here. I bought this one on a Kindle deal several months ago now and have not yet read it, but I am excited about it. So if number 1 comes up, this will be the book I'm reading. Number 2 will be Her Night with the Duke by Diana Quincy. This is a historical romance that's written by a woman of color. I believe Diana Quincy has some Middle Eastern background. I'm not entirely sure where she's from specifically, and I believe our main female character in this one is also Middle Eastern, so excited about that one. And then number 3 is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. I, along with everyone else I think in the entire world, pretty much watched and absolutely loved Bridgerton, and I actually have, I'm not gonna lie, all 4 of the first Bridgerton books on my Kindle. I did buy them late at night after watching episode 6 or 7 of Bridgerton. I was just like, I need more Bridgerton family in my life. But I'll just start with The Duke and I, which is the first one, which is Simon and Daphne's story. I've been intrigued about reading it, particularly given that I know there's some things that they changed for the show, but there's still some kind of more problematic elements of the book, so I'm intrigued to kind of do a comparison of these 2. So that'll be my number 3 pick if number 3 gets chosen. And then number 4 is You Had Me at Hola by Alexis Daria. This is a contemporary romance that follows 2 Latinx main leads, and they're both movie stars or TV stars, and they're in a show together that I think is on a kind of Netflix-y type streaming service, and they are kind of tasked with learning about one another as they're going to be romantic leads, but I think the kind of chemistry continues off screen. Then number 5 is tying into a different later category, which actually I tried to do in terms of picking books that actually would fit multiple categories. So the next one is A Rogue of One's Own by Evie Dunmore. This is the second in Evie Dunmore's historical romance series, and this is following a group of women who are all suffragettes at Oxford. They're some of the first like female students who attend Oxford, and this one I think is enemies to lovers, if I remember. A lady must have money and an army of her own if she is to win a revolution, but first she must pit her wits against the wiles of an irresistible rogue bent on wrecking her plans and her heart. Yeah, so I think this one is an enemies to lovers. I'm excited about it. I really enjoyed the first one in this series, so I hope that this one will be good. Then moving into my 6 through 10 picks, which are going to be nonfiction that are vaguely relevant to like my professional interests, because I do like to read nonfiction, particularly that helps me kind of think about my future career and what I want to do with that. The first of which is like a totally random pick that I just found several months ago on my parents' bookshelf, and I was like, this looks cool. So then I stole it and put it on my bookshelf, which is After the Storm, edited by Dante Troutt, and this is Black Intellectuals Explore the Meaning of Hurricane Katrina. This book probably came out back in like 2007, I would say, is my guess. 2006, so like the year after Katrina happened. But Katrina for some reason is a event, I guess is the best way to put it, that interests me a lot. I think the failures of Katrina and how to prevent those failures, particularly in the ways that they're rooted in racism, I think is a really interesting way of examining Katrina and thinking about moving forward, particularly with climate change and hazard mitigation when thinking about climate change. So this is a topic that I've been more and more interested in, and I think Katrina is a great case study for that, just because it's very well known. Obviously there was a lot of failures of the government for the people living in New Orleans. So I'm excited to hear what these Black intellectuals have to say about Katrina and kind of what happened, and it is very short, so a great one for a like random spin challenge like this. Then book number 7 will be A Map is Only One Story, 20 Writers on Immigration, Family, and the Meaning of Home, edited by Nichole, Chung, and Mensah Demary, I think is how you would say her name. I am excited about this one quite a lot. I don't have that much else to say about it, but it will be book number 7, I think. Then book number 8 is Rising Dispatches from the New American Shore by Leesa Thrush. I talked about this one as well as the next one in my climate change recommendations video, which I'll put a link to up in the cards above. This is one that I'm really excited about because, again, it's relevant to a lot of my interests, as all 5 of these nonfiction books are, in terms of thinking about climate change and its impacts on communities and people, and how we can appropriately prepare for climate change for people who are living in these communities, and how can we best serve them. Then book number 9 will be All We Can Save, Truth, Courage, and Solutions for the Climate Crisis, edited by Ayana Elizabeth Johnson and Katharine K. Wilkinson. Again, another one about climate change, climate crisis, and solutions towards figuring out how to solve those problems. Obviously very relevant for me, so that's book number 9. And then book number 10 is one that I've had on my bookshelf just for ages and ages, and I really need to read it, which is Triumph of the City, How Our Greatest Invention Makes Us Richer, Smarter, Greener, Healthier, and Happier by Edward Glaeser. This is an older one. It was published in 2011, but I am still very excited about this one. I've heard very good things, and I think this is a very kind of seminal text in terms of thinking about urban planning and the kind of economic experiment of urban planning, and how cities function kind of in our society and what benefits they bring to us. So that is book number 10. So the next collection of books that I have are 5 Book of the Month books, as I'm hoping to read down my Book of the Month books. I think I have like 15 or something right now. I have too many, is the truth of the matter. So if any of these books get chosen, that will be exciting, because then I will be forced to read one of my Book of the Month books, and I am excited about all of them, but they often, for whatever reason, are just not a priority for me, at least in the past couple months. So book number 11 will be Memorial by Bryan Washington. I read and really enjoyed a lot by Bryan Washington way back in January of 2020 and thoroughly enjoyed it, and so when I heard about his debut novel, I was super excited about it, and I have not yet gotten to it, despite the fact that this was a November 2020 Book of the Month pick. I think it was a January, just kidding, it was a December pick, is This Close to Okay by Leesa Cross-Smith. Again, this is another one where I've read Leesa Cross-Smith before, really enjoyed it, was really excited about her sophomore novel. I think this is her sophomore novel. Let's see, maybe it's her 3rd novel, I'm not entirely sure. But this one is about a therapist and a man who was potentially going to commit suicide, and the woman stops him and they kind of have a weekend together. Another one that I've been excited about, but for whatever reason just have not put it on TBR. Book number 13 is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This is one that I've had for almost a year, so I really do want to get to it. And I also put it on a 5-star predictions video from like months and months ago, probably in like June or July. I made that video, and I've never finished all the books that I said were 5-star predictions, which is another thing that I would like to accomplish. So hopefully this one will come out, because then I could get one step closer to completing that project. Book number 14 is a January book that I am excited about, but otherwise not sure when I would get to it, so I thought it would be appropriate for this list, which is The Removed by Bryan and Hobson. This is a contemporary-ish novel written by an Indigenous author. I believe Hobson is a member of the Cherokee Nation, yes. And he also teaches at the, what is it called? The Institute of American Indian Arts, which is where Tommy Orange got his MFA, I believe, or he now teaches there, or both. I don't remember. But anyway, it's a phenomenal school for Indigenous writers in America, and many of the top writers who are Indigenous here in America either teach there or got their MFA there. So I'm excited about this one as well. I believe it takes place on the Cherokee Reservation here in North Carolina. Not here, obviously, but very close to where I am now. It doesn't say, but I think that is the case. So there's that one. And then book number 15, the last of this section, will be Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This one was from December of 2019, although I believe I got it in January of 2020. And so it's been one that's been sitting on my shelves for quite a while. It's a more literary mystery that takes place in Philadelphia and is tracking two sisters, one of whom is a cop in Philadelphia and the other of whom is addicted to opioids. The one who is addicted to opioids goes missing, and so there's a mystery in terms of like what happened to her, but also a kind of flashback reflection on their childhood and what happened and how they kind of diverged down two different paths. So excited about this one. Definitely one that I've been wanting to read for a while, but obviously I've not gotten to it, so I feel like this is a appropriate time to try to get to it if it gets randomly picked through this project. And then my last pile are all books that I think I've put on previous TBRs and have not read them, or I've just told myself like this is the month that I'm going to read this book. And obviously I haven't, because these are all sitting unread. So the first of which is The Lacuna by Barbara Kingsolver. This one I was planning on reading in December, but I just didn't get around to it because this one is a bit longer and just kind of about a subject matter that doesn't super interest me, but I do love Barbara Kingsolver, so I thought I'd give this a try. Then pick number 17 is one that I've put maybe on it like 2 or 3 TBRs. Like it was sitting on my like books I'm gonna read next like section of my shelf for several months, and I just didn't read it, and then I put it back on a different part of my shelf because I gave up on that project. So that book is 10,000 States by Eleanor Henderson. This is about 2 friends who are living in Vermont. And again, other themes of like drugs, opioid addiction in this one as well, I think. But I really enjoyed The 12 Mile Street by Eleanor Henderson when I read it now several years ago, and I've wanted to read her debut novel ever since. Book number 18 is one that I'm pretty sure I may be the last person in the entire world to have read this book, which is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This book, I actually have never read any Colson Whitehead, and that's in large part just because I have heard that his books are so depressing, traumatic, difficult to get through, all of those things, and I think The Underground Railroad is no exception, although it is a very important book. Obviously it is very well acclaimed, well on its way to becoming like a modern classic, I would say. So I've wanted to read it for a while, and it's been sitting on my shelf for even longer than that, so I am excited to get to this one if book number 18 is picked. Then book number 19 is another book that I actually put on that 5-star prediction video, which is Conjure Woman by Afia Otakora. I've put this one also on several TBRs, have not ever gotten to it, excited to get to it. It's another historical fiction book, also set around the like pre-Civil War, Civil War time period. And then last but not least, we have a book that I put literally on my January TBR and was hoping to get to this month, but it is the 29th of January right now at like 4 o'clock, and I'm not going to get to it. So I've put it on this list instead, which is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is a YA fantasy novel that's inspired by West African folklore. Heard really good things about it, excited to read it, just as I am with all of these books. So those are all of my Booktube Spin list picks. Hopefully I will have put the number that each book corresponds to, so you can kind of hold me accountable when like does the spin. If you are new to my channel through the Booktube Spin little game thing that's happening here, I would love to have you stick around and subscribe. Additionally, if you are participating in the Booktube Spin, I'd also love to hear either your picks or a link to your video down in the comment section below. I hope you're having a great rest of your Friday if you're watching this on the day I post it, or whenever you watch it. I hope you're having a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.